Hey guys, it's Krystle back at it again with another video, and you know what that means. Even though it's still technically summer, at least while I'm filming this, it's the end of August, a lot of you guys are already heading back to school, and that means it's actually time to start thinking about applications for summer programs, academic camps, all that good stuff for next summer, 2026. Especially when some of those programs have really early deadlines. That's right, I'm talking about Yale Young Global Scholars, or YYGS, which is a 2-week academic summer program for STEM and humanities for 10th and 11th graders hosted at Yale's campus, and it has a whopping 13% acceptance rate. This program can literally give you a better chance at getting into Yale and other top colleges like Ivy Leagues, and Yale literally specifically marks down applicants to their college who have gone to YYGS because they really like when students have gone there and they put them into a more competitive pile of candidates. How do I know this? Because as you guys might know, if you've been watching me, I graduated from Columbia University. I run my own academic consulting and college counseling company, myivyeducation, and I've gotten a bunch of my students into these top colleges. I've been doing this for years, helping students get in, so let's dig into all the insider information and knowledge that I've gained about how to get into YYGS to be your wonderful little launching pad to get into your dream colleges. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's go. So what even is YYGS? What do you do there? Well, there are 3 areas of study that you can choose from. Used to be 4, we'll get into that in a minute. It isn't guaranteed that you'll get your first choice, but they do their best to match students to the seminar that fits their interests. And all of them offer a mix of lectures where you learn about the topic you're studying, and small seminars and group projects designed to have students research together and finish the 2 weeks off with a capstone project, which is a research presentation that they present to Yale faculty. Starting off strong for my STEM kids, we have Innovations in Science and Technology, which covers anything and everything STEM. Like, we're talking everything from physics to molecular biology, chemistry, biochemistry, astronomy, engineering, neuroscience, immunology, psychology, and earth science, plus interdisciplinary combinations of all of the above. My big piece of advice for this seminar, even though they don't mention this outright on the website and technically you don't have to have it to get in, is if you're putting IST first in your seminar rankings, make sure that you have some sort of coding background or try to pick up some programming ability before you go to YYGS for the summer. Something like JavaScript, C++, Python, even R, because it's really going to come in clutch for any kind of programming analysis, AI, machine learning, or even just statistical analysis that you guys would be doing in your capstone project. Next up for my future senators, we have politics, law, and economics. If you're interested in economic theories, rule of law, political systems of governance, all that good stuff, this one's for you. Some of the questions that they cover will ask things like, should governments regulate markets? Why is it difficult to enforce antitrust laws? How can we reimagine sustainable growth that protects the environment and workers' rights? And how is artificial intelligence reshaping many aspects of people's lives? How can policymakers address the risks that come with AI? So this seminar is basically about how governance is changing in the modern day. This can also be a really good one to apply for if you're interested in sociology, anthropology, history. It doesn't have to just be if you want to be a lawyer or an economist or a politician. Last but not least, we have Solving Global Challenges, or SGC, which is all of the above and more. This is for you if you're interested in solving global challenges and finding solutions for peace, technology, climate, anything like that, that aren't just linked to one specific academic area, but go more interdisciplinary in their scope. It's inspired by the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals, so you can just take a peek at some of those to see everything this seminar covers. For instance, one of my students who did this particular seminar this past summer ended up studying topics like how colonialism in some parts of Africa actually helped lead to the development of some of their modern day currencies and all of the negative consequences that that still has today. And they also had this competition where students formed into teams to create the best country they could, considering everything from sustainability, technology level, to the government system, all of these little random nooks and crannies that you would never otherwise consider about how countries actually are run. It is such an amazing experiential education. I feel like if you're interested in Model UN, mock trial, those kinds of activities and competitions and conferences where you're sort of enacting something and really modeling what these very much like grown-up people in charge do in their daily lives, in their jobs and careers, this is the seminar for you. SGC asks and answers questions like, how can we design sustainable cities that are equitable for everyone? And how do we balance environmental protections with economic development? I feel like SGC has something for everyone though, whether you're into tech and AI, climate change, environment, sustainability, philosophy and ethics, the list goes on. Now, if you were familiar with YYGS at all before watching this video, you might have clocked that I said that SGC was the last seminar, and that's because there used to be 4 seminars. The 4th is called Literature, Philosophy, and Culture, or LPC, but I no longer see that on their website, which leads me to believe that they're not offering it this year. It was all about creative writing, comparative literature, the arts, even things like drama and music. I do think YYGS not offering it is a big loss because there are so many fewer opportunities out there for my humanities and arts kids. So if you guys want me to make a video on alternatives to that kind of seminar, I got you. Just let me know in the comments. So what makes YYGS so special? Why do colleges like it so much? Well, my students who attend are always gushing about how in-depth the academic lectures are and how they're learning all these topics that are so different from what they tend to learn in school. But to me, the biggest differentiating factor is that YYGS attracts kids from over 150 countries, so that makes it truly unbeatable in terms of diversity and getting access to real people's different opinions from around the world. In those seminars, you can guarantee that the professors are going to be bringing in a multitude of viewpoints for everything from global perspectives on AI to systems of governance to democracy to justice systems to history. And almost every time there's going to be someone in your class who's literally from that part of the world, and they'll be able to chime in and offer their perspectives and their firsthand experiences. And it's just so incredible to hear from someone's lived experience beyond just a textbook. You can really have this super, super cool cross-cultural community exchange and go from just being a bunch of people from different countries to having that real understanding, even if you don't always agree. And that's something that a lot of other programs don't really have. There are many summer programs that are open to people internationally, but YYGS, I would say, does one of the best jobs of actually getting those people talking in the same rooms and working together on projects. You also get to do some pretty in-depth research considering that it's only 2 weeks out of your summer. Basically, the final capstone project you do will culminate in more of a presentation than a paper, but a lot of my students will end up still working with their team members even after YYGS ends, and they expand their research into a paper and even get it published. So there's a lot you can do with what you end up researching there. Of course, no program is perfect. One thing to keep in mind about YYGS is it is a program that you have to pay to attend, which can sometimes be a dog whistle that the program is actually not that prestigious. That is not the case for YYGS. They have a really low acceptance rate, and also they offer a lot of money in merit scholarships to make sure that students are able to attend, especially if you apply early, which forms the perfect segue into my next point about how to actually maximize your chances of getting in. One of the things to keep in mind is, much like colleges themselves, YYGS has an early deadline and a regular deadline, October 15th versus January 7th. Applying by that early deadline can definitely boost your chances of getting in because you'll have less competition, so your application will stand out more. And I'm sure you're all wondering, what is YYGS looking for? Well, they're looking for kids who really appreciate the kind of diverse, inclusive community that they cultivate. Kids who want to really turn that into a family and continue the deep conversations that they'll have in their classes into profound, late-night heart-to-hearts in the dorms, you know what I mean. And kids who are willing to work together and move beyond their differences to create really collaborative group projects and actually add to the body of scholarly research in whatever seminar area they're working on. So how do you show YYGS that that's you? Well, you have to show YYGS why they're the right program for you and you're the right student for them. So that really comes down to answering the essays in really deep and detailed ways. They always have 2 essays, a longer one and a shorter one, and several short answers. And these can change from year to year, but here are some recent examples. Some of the successful topics that I worked on with my students this year included a petition they had started for environmental conservation, a nonprofit to bring educational equity to marginalized communities that they worked with and were part of, work to do disaster relief after living in a place that was really decimated by a natural disaster. Are you kind of seeing the pattern here? These students are emphasizing, with my help, how they had actively contributed to their communities and made their societies a better place. These students had some sort of belief or idea, and they stood up for it and did something about it. But of course, they didn't have to do that alone. I'd been working with them through the whole process because that's a huge part of what I do. I'm always helping my students come up with and scale all their passion project ideas, whether that's a nonprofit, business, publication, some other kind of charitable or philanthropic endeavor that actually makes an impact. And I'm very happy to say we're really good at it, you guys. I've helped my students to do everything from literally getting the Guinness World Record for the biggest STEM nonprofit in the world, reaching over 100,000 students worldwide, to getting interviewed by CNN, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. The list goes on. So if that's something that you guys are interested in doing, you can always reach out to me. And I would definitely say I saw such a connection, such a direct proportional relationship between students with this kind of passion project and my students who got accepted to YYGS, that I would go so far as to say it's almost mandatory to have this sort of self-driven leadership role in something that you've created. So if you don't already have one, tick tick, October 15th is coming up. Reach out to me, you guys. What are you doing? Email me. I am here to help you, not just with the essays, but with the activities and accolades and all that good stuff that you can have on your resume well before you even submit your application to YYGS. They also give you space to list up to 5 awards that you may have won, academic or extracurricular in your personal life, and space for 3, yes, only 3 activities, and 100 words to describe why your top-ranked activity is the most meaningful to you. So you can see, not much space to really stuff your resume in there. That's why it's really important to make full use of all of the aspects of the application. So if you've talked about an activity already in your essays, put another one in that slot in the activity section. Don't repeat, don't overlap, and really try and showcase all the different facets of what you do. But at the same time, don't fall into the trap of just coming across as like a jack of all trades who just does everything and anything for the heck of it. YYGS, much like colleges, is not looking for well-rounded students. They're looking for a well-rounded class of students that all have a strong narrative or theme to their application. So be intentional with the activities and awards that you choose to mention, but make sure that you're also using every part of the application to say something a little bit new, a little bit different about you, just all centered like an arrow pointing straight towards what you can bring to YYGS that no other student can. Now, I know that even with having this kind of head start on the application, knowing what questions they're asking, YYGS is still super competitive, you guys. So that's what I'm here for. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can email me. I can help you with brainstorming and editing the essays, getting really fantastic activities and awards and competitions to win to put in the application. And of course, like we were talking about, starting and scaling that passion project to show that meaningful effort in your area of interest. So reach out, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more college and high school tips and recommendations. And comment down below if you're applying to YYGS, tell me what seminar is your favorite and which one you want to get into, and I'll give you some insider tips about it. Well, I can't wait to see you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye for now. Mwah!